Welcome to the channel. If you want to become a certified ethical hacker, you must first learn the language of hacking. Because cybersecurity professionals don't just hack. They communicate using specific terminology. If you don't understand the words, you won't understand the attack. And if you don't understand the attack, you cannot defend against it. Today, we will break down the most important ethical hacking terms you must know for the CEH exam and real-world cybersecurity practice. We'll cover threat, vulnerability, exploit, target of evaluation, TOE, attack, remote versus local attacks. And I'll explain each one with real-world examples. Let's begin. Threat. What is threat? A threat is any environment, situation, or person that could potentially cause a security breach. A threat does not mean damage has happened. It means damage could happen. Think of a threat as a possibility of danger. For example, a hacker group targeting banks. They haven't attacked your bank yet, but they have the capability and intention. That's a threat. An employee using weak passwords. No breach yet, but it creates potential risk. That is also a threat. In CEH perspective, ethical hackers identify threats, prioritize threats, analyze how serious they are. Malicious hackers themselves are considered threats to organizations. So remember, a threat is the potential for harm. Vulnerability. Now let's move to one of the most important terms. What is vulnerability? A vulnerability is a weakness in a system. This weakness could be software flaw, poor configuration, design error, unpatched operating system, weak password policy. A vulnerability is like an unlocked door in a building. If no one enters, nothing happens. But the weakness exists. For example, your company server is running outdated Windows Server. There is a known bug. That bug is a vulnerability. If no one exploits it, it remains a weakness. But it is dangerous. Important concept. Vulnerability is not equal to attack. It is only a weakness. An ethical hacker's job is to find vulnerabilities before attackers do. Exploit. Now we move to the action tool. What is exploit? An exploit is code or technique that takes advantage of a vulnerability. If vulnerability is the unlocked door, exploit is the tool used to open it. Simple explanation. Vulnerability equals to weakness. Exploit equals to weapon used to attack that weakness. Real-world example. There is a vulnerability in a web application. A hacker writes a small script that sends malicious input. The application crashes or gives admin access. That script is the exploit. Important CEH exam concept. Exploits are often small pieces of code. Many hacking tools already contain pre-built exploits. You do not need to be a programmer to use exploit frameworks. Example tools. Metasploit. Exploit kits. Ethical hackers use exploit tools in controlled environments to test systems. Target of evaluation, TOE. Now let's discuss a technical term often seen in CEH. Definition. Target of evaluation, TOE, is the system, network, or application being tested. In simple words, TOE is the target system under security analysis. For examples, a company's email server, banking database server, web application login system, corporate firewall, high-value TOE. Ethical hackers usually focus on systems that contain passwords, account numbers, social security numbers, financial data, confidential business data. These are high-value targets. Role of ethical hacker. The goal is not to destroy. The goal is to test tools safely, identify vulnerabilities, recommend patches, protect sensitive data, attack. Now let's combine everything. What is attack? An attack occurs when a vulnerability is successfully exploited. Threat to vulnerability. Vulnerability to exploit. Exploit to attack. That is the attack chain. For example, threat, hacker group targeting company. Vulnerability, unpatched web server. Exploit, SQL injection script. Attack, database compromised. That final stage is the attack. Ethical hackers simulate attacks to see: can the system be compromised? How much damage is possible? What needs fixing? Remote versus local attacks. Now let's talk about how exploits are delivered. There are two primary methods. Remote attack. A remote attack is launched over a network. The attacker does not have physical access. Examples: internet-based hacking, phishing attacks, web application exploitation, ransomware delivered via email. Most people imagine hackers sitting far away. That is remote exploitation. For example, an attacker in another country scans your company's public IP address, finds an open port, launches exploit. That is remote attack. Local attack. A local attack requires prior access to the system. This could be insider threat, malicious employee, someone with physical access, already compromised account. For example, an employee logs into a system and escalates privileges. That is a local exploit. Important reality. Most real-world breaches are internal or local. Not Hollywood-style remote hacking. Insiders are often the bigger risk. Let's summarize with a scenario. A company server is unpatched. That is a vulnerability. A hacker group targeting banks exists. That is a threat. They use a pre-built exploit script. That is the exploit. The server is compromised. That is the attack. The server being tested is the TOE. This is the language of ethical hacking. If you want to pass the CEH exam, you must understand terminology clearly. Because cybersecurity is not just technical. It is conceptual. And once you understand threat, vulnerability, exploit, TOE, attack, remote versus local, you understand the foundation of ethical hacking. Everything else builds on this. If this helped you understand CEH terminology clearly, like this video, subscribe to Forge IT Skill, and share this with your cybersecurity friends. In the next video, we'll cover another important CEH concept in detail.